Hello people, and welcome to episode 1 of our modded Cities Skylines build, Ilos. Hope you're having a wonderful day. And how exciting, right? We are finally, finally in this city. It's been talked about for so long, at least a year now. We've been speaking about this since Palaven. A modded Cities Skylines series, everyone. Welcome. So before we do get building, some series information. All the mods and assets are linked down in the description below, alongside in our Discord server, which is also linked below. An enormous thank you to Exit and Karina for building this map for me. It is absolutely amazing. Like, just superb. You guys would have seen the trailer, and we'll have a little fly around today as well before we start building, just to examine the masterpiece that this map is. So thank you so much to those two. If you haven't checked out their workshop content, they will be linked down below. For those that have followed my channel for a long time will know that I am primarily a vanilla player, and indeed this will be my first solo modded city. The only time I've really played extensively with any of these mods is the Fire Builders project. So this is it on my own for the first time, which should be interesting, I think, right? We hope, anyway. So I'm kind of familiar with most of the mods, but if you see me doing something that could be done more efficiently with a different mod or the same mod in a different way, please get them down in the comments below. I'll definitely be reading them all and replying to them as many as I can. So if you see me sloping something with Move It when it could perhaps be done better with Network Multitool, then let me know. I'm a mod noob, so I don't know. Okay, so wonderful. Welcome to a American Southwest inspired city, everyone. The map that we're working with is actually based off that of Phoenix in Arizona, and we will be having a look at Google Earth today as well. So we'll kind of see some resemblances here. But we won't limit ourselves to Phoenix. We will also mooch around in Salt Lake City, Albuquerque, El Paso, San Diego, just the general American Southwest. But for the bulk of our inspiration, and especially the eventual skyline look, we will absolutely be working a lot with Phoenix in Arizona. If at any point during this episode or series you would like to support me, there are links on how to do so down below as well. So thank you for all support, especially to my Patreon subscribers and Instant Gaming users. You guys are supporting me directly. Really appreciate you all. You are beautiful people with great character. But of course, before we start building, we need to identify some kind of theme and starting area. And of course, for that, we need Google Maps. Okay guys, so welcome to Google Earth. So I'm always championing this tool. Fantastic ideas immediately available for Cities Skylines. And now that we're playing with mods, we don't have to be as selective in which ideas we turn down, because a lot of new ideas are now possible with these mods. So on first glances, you can immediately see some similarities. We have this big wide flat plain with the kind of boxed in highways here, very similar to Ilos' map, right? And then the mountains over in the northeast and down in the southwest. So immediately I know that I'm placing my downtown within this square right here. And the satellite imagery over Glendale reveals a very typical, super heavy American grid. I've been reading up a little bit about Arizona's grid system. And a quick little shout out to our favorite city planner as well. He's been firing over me some links about Arizona's section township range and all this really cool city planning stuff. So thank you so much to Phil. You're a beast, mate. Really appreciate that support. But as we zoom in, a much more intricate road network begins to reveal itself, which is really interesting. You know, you can kind of see all these little designs here, and there's, you know, a school and a little park, and we can just take inspiration for our intersection markings. We can see that they're just kind of double solid white lines, and that every time that these kind of real big key gridded arterials meet, they're kind of breaking down into asymmetrical 3x2s. And every time they do meet on these corners, there's these large car parks with these big kind of big box retailers. There's kind of dental care in here as well, and it's like a little car retailer here too. So just endless inspiration. I'm really excited to be playing with this. Our skyline inspiration, or a shape of a skyline, is very much going to be based off of Phoenix. So if we zoom into this here, right, we can get almost like a very flat blanket of lights that is met by what is essentially kind of a mid-rise. The American Southwest cities don't have nearly as many skyscrapers as on the East Coast. You know, Phoenix isn't as old as New York, so I'm guessing they're just less developed for that reason. Maybe not, if you guys know. Maybe it's something to do with the heat. I'm not sure. But if you guys do know why the American Southwest doesn't seem to have any significant high-rises, do let me know. I'd be interested to find out. But, you know, there are some taller buildings in here. We have the Chase building. I think this is the US Bank building, is it? Yes, it is. There we go, once it loads in. And then the Alliance Bank. So, you know, there's certainly some taller buildings in there. And then alongside Chase Field as well, which is one of the larger stadiums. So plenty of inspiration. However, as always, we don't really start with the downtown on this channel, right? We want to find something out here. So the part of where we're planning to start the map would actually kind of be the city of Glendale. So we're kind of looking for some smaller suburban grid designs around here to eventually crawl over that big expanse and into the downtown in however many episodes time, of course, with many more builds in between. So this is our primary inspiration. Again, if you're always kind of struggling to start a city, just jump on Google Earth, find a city that's in your theme, and just have a little fly around. Super, super inspirational, especially with the mods now, which gives us so many more possibilities, which I'm really looking forward to, and hope you guys are as well. But otherwise, that is enough talking and thanking. Let's start playing some modded Cities Skylines, shall we? So, this is where we're going to start building Ilos today, and whilst we just had a look at that big American grid, which I think is going to occupy mainly this kind of box here, if you can kind of imagine this box of highway, this is where our big grid will fill in, and probably down into the south a little bit here as well, and around the edge of the downtown. But for right here, we're looking to kind of generate some outer line suburb vibes, and we also have rail here as well, alongside the dried out riverbed. So I think what we can work with here is a transition between the very edge of the suburb and some rural farmland / some rural industry action. So plenty of possibilities available to us. But either way, let's get started. Let's go into our roads. And of course, we're playing with a whole bunch of new roads. And I think we're going to start out with a little American asymmetrical road. And let's bring this out by 30 tiles for right now. Ideally want this facing the other way. We want the 3 lanes coming into the town because that's where it's going to be busier. Okay. And then I think we might go for maybe another batch of 10 as well. Yeah, let's do that. And then we can switch that around. Let's grab a nice 20 curve here, and then curve that by 20 again, which is going to give us a nice little approach into the area, and then we'll come out by another 10 on that straight road tour. Again, just remembering to constantly upgrade so we have the 3 lane facing into our junction here. And then let's go out by another 20, and then from this node here, I now want to split the arterial off so it flows in another direction, maybe across the riverbed while this one carries on over, probably back towards this highway over here. We'll connect it in here. So let's work on that. So let's go for that node. So I'm going to put road anarchy on here and then turn off road bending so we can come off on a straight angle here and snap into that road guideline. I want a 45-degree angle between the road that we're drawing and the one that we already have drawn. Very nice, that's going to serve us wonderfully. And then I think to give this node a little more breathing room, a little more importance, we're going to come in with a little bit of node controller and then just offset all of these ones here. Just to widen out this junction a touch. Okay, maybe a touch more than that as well. That's probably going to be about right, okay? And we'll do some intersection marking stuff here today as well so we can just play with that mod. Even though the intersection markings in Phoenix aren't kind of actually that well designed or really exist at all, but we can still have fun in Cities Skylines with it. So I definitely want some kind of very heavy grid focused suburban area to lie out here. So let's start coming out with some of these little 2-unit roads, and I'm going to come out by 40 units here. And what a wonderful mod precision engineering is, right? To allow us to measure the roads like this. So helpful, really is. So I think every time we use one of these smaller connecting roads that meet an arterial, we're going to use these little ones with the yellow dash. And then every time we're in the suburb, that is just a regular suburban road, we're just going to use these US Plain Streets, which I think would be quite nice as well. So I think I'm going to continue to bring this down right until we touch this first arterial that we've drawn in. And what this will allow us to do is just let the smaller road function as a little bit of a frontage road as people are entering this side of town. So we should have some quite nice designs in here today as well, hopefully. So let's reach out that measurement. We're at 20. Let's come out by, say, another 20 for right now. Let's knock that road guideline off, though. Here we go. And then we'll bring this up. Remember our technique of that we're using the yellow dashes for a connection to the arterial road. And then bring that in. And then it's just a simple case of now of just maximizing the space as best as possible. We're going to come off anarchy again. And then just filling in these spaces now with some zonable tiles. And this will give us a nice little start for some initial residential zoning to appear. So whilst we continue to establish our road network, I now want to discuss for the first time parking lots I'm so excited. no more green cities parking lots, everyone. So we are playing with the big parking lots mod alongside, I think it's parking lot roads as well. So we've got a couple of different ones to suit kind of different ideas. But I'm a huge fan of big parking lots, and this is one we're going to be using for this one here. So I'm going to use this drive road to allow people to access the car park. Come on to that curve road tool again as well, and I think we want to mimic by about... It's about 17, is it? Yeah, okay. That's going to keep it as a frontage road, and we can fill out these spaces with surface painter later on today as well. So once we hit the edge of the drive road, we want to jump over to a border, because these are going to be actually how we place our car parks. Now, when we're using these, it's always a good idea to come off the road guideline and the grid and stick in units of 3. So let's go out by 21. We'll come up by 9, and then back across by 21, and then come back down. And then what we can do here is come in with our filler roads. Again, there's kind of a grey and a black version of these. Likewise with the drive and the borders as well. So if you want that black tarmac, then you can actually get it. And it's just a case of drawing in these fillers within the spaces. Okay. And then we hit road anarchy, which is Control and A. Come down into some of this car parking over here. And then we can now just place in these little car parking spots. And if you do get a little tear like this, there's actually a clipping remover. And then we can just remove the clipping within the mod. And this gives us a car park, which is absolutely amazing. Like, how much better is this? So excited to be doing something like this in the game. But to actually get these to work a little bit better, we're going to come into our mod settings and we're going to find Traffic Manager. Come over to the Gameplay tab and then we're going to hit Enable More Realistic Parking AI here. Because this will help our car parks to get a little more use from the Sims. So that's going to be nice. Let's come back into those drive roads again now and connect our car park back into the current existing kind of suburban road network here. Distance of 9 there. Let's measure another road out. I guess we'll bring it behind here and we can allow this road to kind of function as some kind of back service access for the commercial lots that'll sit along here. So we can definitely zone those up now. Might actually just break this road here until we get in. That way they're going to orientate the right way. So we'll have some commercial zone in there. And then we can fill out with residential zoning in these grids here. So this initial suburb will change because we're going to be using the Themes Manager mod to apply something called the American Eclectic theme, which will affect the assets that spawn in. So that will eventually kind of change its look. But this should give us a nice little start for residential and commercial at least anyway. So let's develop some smaller industrial spaces to place that starting industry. So why don't we snap onto the road guideline of the rail here, because we'll want to align with this eventually. And I'm maybe thinking some kind of old dusty rail yard industrial vibes around here. I think that would be quite nice to pull off with some of the mods. We'll see anyway. And then let's align with this node here. We will connect into this one, which will create as another junction. And we can probably even hook the drive road into here with anarchy as well. Although we probably don't want traffic lights here, and that might have to become a one-way. But we'll just see how the traffic affects. And we also have this dropper here as well to grab the same roads. So good. Just be prepared for me to be blown away by the functionality of a lot of these mods in this series, everyone. I hope that's okay. Okay. Very nice. Let's go into some rural roads and we'll grab some dirt. And then from here we can just plan out some very basic initial industrial planning just to satisfy that demand. But of course, as the city grows and we unlock more assets, we will make much more appealing industrial areas. But for right now, at least we have something. Okay. Very nice. Now I am playing with a couple of power assets, but there's a surprising lack of power plants on the workshop, which is quite interesting. But we do have some solar panels and a power substation. You know, and this power substation would work best as kind of a larger power plant build rather than on its own. But we do have it. But we do have these little solar panels which produce 11 megawatts, which is, you know, a quarter of what the core power plant is going to produce. So I think I'm just going to line up some solar panels on the entrance into town here, okay? They're not that expensive, right, I don't think. 3,000 per placement compared to 19,000. So you're getting a decent trade-off there. And that should give us just enough power for what we need. And then my favourite little rural American power lines are also making a return as well. We absolutely want these to run parallel with the arterial. We'll also take them across here again as well. Let's make sure that we are snapping into that grid with no road guideline. There we go. And let's take out that second connection as well. Redraw that one. And then we can just let this little rural looking power line flow through our suburban. How great does this look? This is so nice. Amazing. Love it. That's not right, is it? Don't think so. Probably because anarchy's on, I think. I did have the Governor Karina tell me to turn off anarchy when I'm not using it. I'll have to get used to doing that. Okay. And then our power line can flow through there. We also want water. So we do have a little kind of wooden, slightly rural looking water tower, which is always a staple of our cities, right? We always have it right by the first highway exit, and it will eventually sit in the foreground of that view to the downtown skyline in a long time anyway. We're not quite there yet, but it's always fun. So let's get this hooked up. We want to press I to come down onto the information view. And then just in case City Planner is watching, we'll put the water pipes under the roads where they belong. Before we do hit play, we'll of course come into our budget and just knock power and water down because we'll be producing too much anyway. And then we can hit play and hopefully start to watch some things develop here. Whilst we do spend the remainder of our budget on some more road infrastructure, why don't we come ahead and grab one of these cute looking medium roads with just 4 lane this time, which have this really cute raised yellow median in the middle. Huge fan of that, that's really nice. And we also have some versions of these as well, with a little raised bit in the middle, which we'll definitely get around to using. But for right now, let's just keep this going. Let's remeasure that. Let's go for another 20. And then why don't we see if we can curve by 20 again, but I'm going to do this to just this bit and then take out those sections and then run straight with this one. We'll let that run down here. And what I'm imagining is that this arterial will now run straight down, like straight as an arrow, all the way across the riverbed, and link up with another highway interchange here, which will just add more interconnectivity and then allow this suburb, which will eventually span out all of this space here, just to occupy this space a little more organically, rather than having just one highway exit here. Very nice indeed. Here are our first people. Make sure that these guys are receiving power. We might want to just draw across a very small brief power line to supply them. But otherwise, we can watch the first Ilos people arrive. So we're already seeing some of these American eclectic assets come in. Now they kind of move through their construction phase as they go through levels 1 through 3, I think is when they start to hit the assets. But allowing them to actually grow up like this, it creates a very unique looking suburb. Like the suburb doesn't just instantly spawn in, like it actually has to be built. And I really like that aesthetic. So we'll see that coming as we move through the milestones here today as well. Of course, I have forgotten my water treatment plant. Wonder how many people were screaming at that. Don't worry. We're here. We've still got enough money. So we'll bring our water treatment plant down. So we'll probably use pop the rowables here to refine a few of these assets because we are playing with a lot of low density commercial, especially, you know, stuff like steakhouses and KFCs, and I think there's some JFK fried chicken in there as well, like one of the weird looking assets, like California Pizza Kitchen and a Wendy's. But we will get a few of these coming in, like some of the petrol stations and these ones here. So we'll leave that for our detailing time lapse, right? As always. So that industrial demand is spiking. Let's start coming in and filling in some of these. For of course, these guys will want a little bit of water coverage as well. Make sure we provide that before we run out of money. You know, my starts to the city, they're always super expensive. We burn through all the cash, but it will stabilize eventually. And again, we'll just allow this power line to jump over and keep those guys powered as they grow up. It's not a bad start, is it? I'm a huge fan of these American roads. Definitely worth downloading this Ultimate American Road Pack. You get a lot of different roads with it, especially the asymmetricals are really nice as well. I'm so happy with this car park. There's no more Green Cities car parks. I can't express how happy that actually makes me, everyone. Let's get some more industrial fill up here. These guys will get power eventually. It'll all jump through. And here come the first people. Yes, please. So we'll definitely want to do a little bit of traffic manager action here with the lanes. So let's come in here and say no straight ahead for that one, and no straight ahead for this one. So we can just set these up like this. This one as well. Let's do, yeah, that one should probably be okay by itself actually. And then we want to do these ones over here too. No right turn here. Make this a dedicated right turn in lane. Likewise for each of these as well. Let's turn off the left turn there. And same with this, no right turn, only turn left back out of the city. So we will get some temporary traffic just as the Sims move in. However, we're going to do a little bit of node controller again and just widen this node out a little bit. There we go, that'll be fine. So what widening the nodes actually does, it obviously widens the curve of the turn that people are taking, which actually makes them go faster. So it's definitely worth widening the nodes on kind of the more important intersections, which we'll definitely look at today as well. I think I'm just going to temporarily delete this road here, just to allow them to flow straight forward. Yeah, we'll bring that in once the traffic dissipates. But for right now, we should be okay. Again, a little bit more residential demand. Let's fill in these next blocks and make sure that everyone is, of course, watered up. There's our first milestone, everyone. So the important things you unlock here are taxes and loans. That's going to be really helpful. Also garbage, not so much healthcare quite yet. We don't really need it at this point in the city. And a couple of little assets that we've downloaded here again, like eye care centres, and a portable classroom. So some quite interesting things to play with. Absolutely, the first thing we want to do is come into the economy tab. We're going to raise our taxes, of course, to 12%. That is the magic number. Everyone's going to be happy. It's going to maximise our income, which is nice. And we'll take a loan as well because it's free real estate. So let's get some garbage processing in. I am playing with a couple of other recycling centres here. If we compare these to the base game ones, we're looking at an upkeep of 960 compared with 240. 960 is nearly my entire budget, so we'll run with the smaller ones. So we'll place a little bit of recycling there. That's going to help deal with the demand. And like I said, we don't really need healthcare yet. It's not that much of an issue. The milestone we're really looking forward to getting to today is, of course, Tiny Town, that's 1,700 population, because we want parks and decoration and detailing. With mods, which would be fun, right? I think it will. Yeah, so we did also unlock education as well. We are playing with a little American elementary school asset, which is very nice looking, a lot better than the regular vanilla game assets, and it's going to do the same job. It's going to educate young Sims within the city. And I think this is beautify our builds, BOB. Actually, let's kind of mess about with the roof colour, which is really cool. So I think we'll go for a nice little white roof here. Imagine there'd be quite a lot of white to reflect all the heat in this city. But we are getting some further big boy industrial demand, so I think what I'm going to do is introduce another slightly smaller parking lot into the area here. Let's come out with another drive road, and then we'll switch up to a border. When you're drawing the borders, I didn't mention this earlier, you always want to draw anti-clockwise with the border roads, just because of the way that they work. So let's go for 6. Okay, that should be fine. Again, those filler roads will allow us to place in the car parks, which you do need anarchy on for. So if you're trying to place them and it's saying, you know, it's not valid, it's because anarchy isn't on. Just change the rotation of that one. There we go. And let's allow some commercial to develop alongside this road here. Also happy for these larger corners. Yeah, we definitely will use plot the growables to find the areas that we want. For example, if we wanted to grab maybe like a little, we'll just search for a gas station, right? There's Rala. But you know, we can just plop a little petrol station on the corner there. So we can use plot the growables when we want to really refine a look and a vibe. So I think I'm fairly happy with that for the minute, but of course we want to get to those detailing milestones. That is absolutely what it's all about. So I definitely want to leave some kind of breathable green space between this commercial and the suburb. So we'll leave these spaces empty for some of that detailing, but we definitely want to carry on satisfying a bunch of these commercial demands. So let's come back into these roads again, and we'll bring down another road here, and then why don't we switch back in to some of these car parks. So just, I feel like we're going to be using these car parks an awful lot this series, but I hope that's not too much of a problem. You know, like we saw it on Google Maps earlier, right? There's tons of car parking in Phoenix, and just generally in America anyway. Okay, so let's have a look at this. We want to bring this one down and then upgrade this section here into a drive road. There we go. That sorts out the little node problem for us. Let's do some more filler. And now we've got that car park in, we can surround it with a little bit of commercial zoning. Likewise on these sides as well, even though it's a little bit fractured, but we can still get some in. But I just love seeing these car parks. Like, what a massive difference this makes to the city, everyone. Just enormous. I'm a huge fan of them. As I'm sure we'll see in this city. There's going to be an awful lot, I'm sure. Okay, let's use a little bit of that money now to continually expand this little suburban pattern here. We can even have a chat about kind of a little dirt frontage road that will run alongside the highway here too if we want. Let's start switching up the angle a little bit now. And maybe fracturing some of these boxes just so we're not so rigidly symmetrical with some of these designs. Let's maybe bring some behind the commercial over here. Have another little cul-de-sac down there. And we can use node controller to widen out these ends and create little cul-de-sacs if we want to. So we'll see how that goes. But for right now, Ilos is growing and everyone is happy. That industrial demand's just starting to spike a little bit again, so let's bring in some more zoning. Let me know what you'd fancy as Ilos' first industrial build. I'm thinking maybe some farmland out here. Because kind of over in the west of Glendale and Phoenix, there is a lot of farmland, so maybe on the opposite side of the dried out riverbed, we can get involved in some farming action, which I think would be quite nice. So I think we're going to grab one of the asset emergency rooms because they're a little bit cheaper than the base game ones. They're kind of nice here. We can maybe include this as part of a little commercial car parking lot here as well. Okay, we are getting a little bit of repeated petrol station spice there, so we'll remove that one because we do have one here. Okay, lots of pathways and activities to be had between these spaces. Okay, really looking forward to getting into the detailing today. If that isn't absolutely abundantly clear. So again, that residential demand is just starting to spike ever so slightly. I have not kept these under the roads. I'm so sorry, Phil. Let's see if we can realign them here. There we go, it's slightly better, isn't it, I suppose? We'll start from this point. That's going to be fine. But how nice is it, everyone, just to have some colour back in after 6 months in Bavaria? It's just so nice to see greens and blues and yellows again. It's wonderful. It really is. So we've got some people here that it looks like they're trying to cross the road, but they're not crossing the road for some reason. Not entirely sure why that is. We may have done something with node controller, but that shouldn't really be causing an issue. Because we did widen this node out. Pedestrian crossing should still be enabled here if I... Yes, it is. It is enabled. Yeah, it's happening here as well. They aren't crossing over. I'm not entirely sure why that is. We'll see if we can fix that today. But I really love the solar panels. I feel like if we get involved with Move It and kind of copy and paste several patterns of these, we can create some very distinct vibes. And also functional vibes as well with it actually producing power. Okay, so let's have a little look at expanding the road network out again. Why don't we grab a little rural road here to see if we can just squeeze out. It looks like we can, but I don't think I like that. Can we come out with a drive road first so we don't get that weird node action happening? Yes, we can. Let's come out as short as we can. Let's go for 2, and then we'll move down into dirt road. Well, hopefully we can with anarchy anyway. Yeah, there we go. That's a little more pleasing, isn't it? Align this one on this side with the road guideline. There we go. That should be a little more acceptable. There we go, that's what I'm after. Then we can look at bringing this road a little bit further out now too. And again, I want them to run somewhat parallel with each other. So let's grab ourselves just another dirt road again. So many roads, literally so many. Okay, so we use this as a guideline. And again, we'll grab this big asymmetrical 5-lane. We'll bring that over there. I think that's going to be quite nice, isn't it? And if we use road tools here to upgrade into a bridge as we cross over the dried out riverbed, we'll bring it over just as we cross over the riverbed, and then we'll force back down to ground and come out here. course, that looks absolutely horrific, but we'll just select all of our nodes with move it, and then we'll do a little bit of Control and H to set the height, and then set it to that first point. And that should give us a much more aesthetically pleasing bridge that now comes over this little dried out riverbed here. And look how cute these little roads are with the American road pack. You have these like red pavements on the edges of the road, and just really nice roads. It's so refreshing to have some new road assets in the game after playing with the vanilla ones for 6 years. It's been a while, hasn't it? It has been a while. Okay. We do also have access to some realistic working cemeteries, which I'm very keen on using here. So I think before we look at cemeteries, we want to rearrange this road here. Let's come back into the drive roads. We'll connect into here. That's going to be fine. And then at this point, we'll downgrade into these 4 lanes. Then come over here. And then this will, of course, want to be bridge. So we've just upgraded that. And then put it down onto earth. Make this one bridge as well. So we're still getting that same texture. It's just 4 lane instead of asymmetrical 3. So that'd be nice. And then we are also playing with part life paths as roads mod, which is absolutely unreal. I'm a huge fan of this one. Let's come back down to earth again, and let's go for this one right here. We'll let this run up, and then what we can do essentially here is just to have these realistic working cemeteries. We can use this as like a modular cemetery now. Now, and every time we need to expand the death care facility now, we can just use these realistic working cemeteries alongside these part life paths as roads to create much more realistic looking cemeteries, I'm hoping. And especially some kind of dusty old rural desert cemetery vibes too. We'll see what we can get involved with that today. Okay, let's come back onto our power lines and give these guys some power. They'll probably want water as well, I imagine. So we are losing power. Is this due to demand? It probably is. Yep, it's time to increase the budget. Let's come back into our budget and raise up power. That should satisfy them. Yep, there we go. Just for a little bit as well. Yeah, water's teetering on the edge too, so we'll do that while we're here as well. But now we've got a whole bunch of residential demand, so let's carry on meeting that and just expanding out our grid in the style that we've chosen. Let's keep putting it down here in some places. Start bringing it further up. And what we're going to do is, as we start to develop this larger residential pattern in this area, we will start to just cut out and almost nominate little grids to become parks and kind of little commercial lots. You know, it won't just all be endless stretch of residential. You know, we will give it a little bit of a theme. But really, it doesn't really matter what it looks like now, because in the next milestone, we're going to unlock the themes manager, which will entirely change this suburb here. So we'll wait for that to happen. And then we can start playing with some American eclectic assets as well. And fantastic, here is our next milestone. So we unlock the emergency services, some forestry stuff, green cities and whatnot, and a bunch of assets. But the main thing I'm interested in here is districts, which is very, very interesting indeed. So let's have a look at this, shall we? So let's draw out a district first of all. Let's go for this one right here. And we do now have automatically named Patreon names for our districts, which is amazing. Thank you so much to Eggsy for designing the theme like this. So we'll now have some pretty hilarious names. We can see we get DJ, Tom's, Besp. So all of our Patreon. There's also some good guys in here as well. Overcharged Heights, DM Park, shout out to the mods, Space Cat. So really cool. A little bit of a minor district. Really like that. So huge thank you to Eggsy. Just a little bit of a side note. But let's get this district painted out over the area that we want it. Wonderful. So there's our district. Let's click on the district name and then go into themes. Then we want to hit this little option here for enable theme management for this district. And then we want to apply American eclectic theme. There's a number of themes you can download off the workshop, of which American Eclectic is one of them. However, you can also open Themes Manager and design your own themes, which I have done with Rural US Res, and just used all of the college assets to make a district that is comprised solely of university assets. It's a really cool mod, allows some much more customizable districts. I'm a huge fan of it. We also have the historical district mod here as well, which is really cool. But this will now just take effect slowly but surely over time. And we'll see only the American eclectic assets spawn. It will also remove assets that aren't within that theme as well. So just takes a bit of time for the game to read it. And whilst it does that, we will place in our emergency services. Let's grab ourselves a police station. So we've got a couple of little asset ones here. That one's probably a little bit too small. How about this little suburban police station here, right on the corner next to the car park? I think I'm going to be happy with that, right? Nice little bit of orientation. If not, it wants just slightly nudging over so it's flush with these car parks over here. But I think I'm fairly happy with that for the time being, alright? And then our fire station as well, of course. We are playing with a couple of little fire station assets. Let's go for that little volunteer fire station on the corner over here, okay? Really nice asset. I actually think I might move this over to kind of be a bit of a frontage asset as an entrance into the town here. You got some pathways and detailing in around that. That should be quite nice. Let's have a look what else we unlocked. I don't think we really missed anything, have we? Yeah, just unique buildings and all the assets. That's fine. That's wonderful. So let's zone up some new zonings within the American eclectic theme. And we'll see what happens here. I probably want to provide another connection back onto the arterial now as well, so let's bring this one out to match up with the other one. Yeah, make sure on that 180-degree angle, and then we can start to hopefully just eye drop these roads here. Get some connections in there, that's going to be nice. Bringing some down here as well, and then just really maximizing the zonable space that we have here, because, you know, very densely packed suburbs are a key aesthetic that we're going for our brief look at Google Maps at the start of the episode. So it's something that we want to stick to. Let's bring this zone right up around here as well. I think we do have traffic lights here. We do on these roads. We definitely want to turn all of these off. There probably is an option. Again, this is where you guys are going to come in tremendously helpful, just to have no traffic lights spawn at all with these options. So get rid of them with Traffic Manager, but if there is a way to do it without, do let me know in the comments below, of course. Wonderful. Just let everyone come through. Again, so we can see it here now, right? This is the American eclectic stuff. So it starts off at level 1, and it is literally just a construction site ready for a house. But as it moves through its levels, we will start to get some nicer looking American homes, which is very exciting indeed. So again, I think it's just about time that we bump up the power and water budgets back to 100% now. And then from this point now, we have the budget and the money to just place another asset as and when we need it. And we'll continue to fill out these larger residential patterns around here. Let's go for in here too. And over here. Don't want to bring too much in at once. Obviously, kind of start suffering from death waves, which isn't the end of the world, but it's certainly something you want to consider anyway. Wonderful. Loving this suburban sprawl that's starting to develop now. Okay, and I did mention earlier as well, we can possibly have a look at a little kind of dirt frontage road that's going to sit alongside the highway. We want to maybe come onto freeform here, actually. Let's see what we can do. Let's go for about here, that should be okay. Then there's some nice detailing we can do with this also. Come off all of our snapping. Just let this little frontage road run all the way with the highway. There's opportunities for detail in here as well. Once we unlock those assets, of course. Well, here we go. So you can now kind of see what a full field of these American eclectic vibes looks like, right? And I'm really happy with it. It's I kind of wish this was in the base game, where you actually kind of see suburbs having to be built. They go through various stages before the house actually appears. Even though they do hold people, like there are residents living here. You know, there's 4 adults living in this construction site. So you are still increasing your population, but they have to be built first. And I really like that. It's a very nice theme. Wonderful. So now that we have these commercials in here, I wanted to actually draw the road in back behind them, didn't I? We can probably generate another car park behind this one, which I think is what we're going to do. So why don't we grab... Let's see, what's the... There's the next milestone. Oh, yes, this is the detailing one. Yes, please, everyone. All right, we'll get to that in a minute. I'll get too excited. If we could at all help it. Okay, so we'll go for... What measurement is that? That's 4. That'd be 3. Let's go for that one then. So we'll come out by 12. Down by 3. Wonderful. This has to be border road as well. Yes, please. And then let's grab some car parking in here. And maybe we can place in a high school here, actually. We are playing with a couple of different high school assets, which we should have available. Yeah, so suburban high school A is a little bit of a firm favourite. Just make sure anarchy is off. I will get used to doing that, I promise. Okay, that's not too bad, is it? Let's go ahead and link these guys together with some more drive roads. Let's go for anarchy as well, and hopefully that doesn't mess up our nodes. That seems to be okay. Wonderful. Okay, so let's discuss some detailing, shall we? Love detailing, everyone. So I mentioned that I want these spaces here to become something of a little bit of green space, a bit of breathable room. So I'm going to grab some nature reserve with decorations, and I want no snapping on for this. And let's just start to meander some pathways through this space, and we can have a look at Ilos' first kind of tree palette here today as well. Take out some of these. We'll do another one through this space here as well. Let's bring it over into the corners. Again, just allowing lots more walkability. Okay. And of course, some fencing, as always. Let's go with some little band nature reserve here and there. Maybe a couple of little stretches down this way. Path connection down here is also going to make sense too. So we'll do that also. Bring in some smaller stretches of nature reserve fencing. Of course, there's a ton of fencing on the workshop I haven't even looked at yet, so huge possibilities. And then all of our trees. Let's come into our workshop trees. We have so many options. Very exciting indeed. Let's go ahead and grab some weeds first of all. Let's get kind of a base layer of weeds down. Perhaps some smaller purple flowers in between them with some red as well. Maybe some regular bushes knocking about also. Do have some hardwood trees here as well, which we can possibly squeeze in. So maybe get 2 of these in and then move down a size towards our small little trees where we have some of these little ones available. I think I definitely want some more weeds though. Let's come into the smaller trees and get some of these kind of cacti growing and little pine plants. Lots of fun to be had with this kind of detailing palette over here, okay? Very nice, that's going to be relatively okay for a vibe that I'm after, I think. And likewise again with this one, we can just fill it out with our favourite little assets that we found on the workshop. Definitely a fan of these hardwood trees. We also have an Australian ironbark as well, which obviously is Australian, but I think it definitely has a place within kind of a scorched desert vibe, right? I think we can certainly get away with it. Did just delete my power line. Let me redraw that one back in. Wonderful. So it doesn't matter how big or small, each little bit of detailing like this is important for generating the vibe that we are after to try and generate here. So again, if you're interested in grabbing all of these assets that I'm playing with, they are linked down below. And hopefully here now, this just gives us a little bit of a preview into some organic looking deserty green belt. People can now use to walk around. We can take a look at those nighttime views as well with the lights and the nature reserve pathways. Big fan of this. I like it, if that's not already abundantly clear. So we're just dealing with some temporary traffic here as vast amounts of Sims start arriving into the city to fill these American eclectic houses, so it's not particularly chronic traffic, it's just, just a lot of people coming in at once. It will stabilise eventually. I also turn the traffic lights off here as well, just so we have a little bit of free space, allow people to move around in this area. Returning to our detailing, of course, if we look at the nighttime view in our car parks, we currently have no light, and that is not good at all. So let's discuss a detailing palette for our car park, shall we? Included with the big car parking mod, we get a bunch of little curbs, which are very nice indeed. If we draw one of these in, we can see it's kind of like a little little grass verge, right? Nothing that's too bad. And we can use these to illuminate, but of course we want to decorate them first. So why don't we, first of all, we have a look at a tree? I think I know exactly which one I want to use. Yeah, this one right here. Let's come on with Tree Anarchy as well. And we'll place one either side. And we'll then search for a light using Plot the Growables, and let's see what we can find here. Let's go for... So yeah, we'll grab one of these street lights. I think that's fairly happy. And then can we find a plant? Yeah, how about some of these little plant box things? I think these are relatively cute, right? Bring these in there. And then there we have just a little detailed island within the car parks that can now just be used with Move It. We'll come into it, we'll deselect all of these, and we just want to grab props and nodes. And then let's just go ahead and trees as well, actually, of course. Don't forget those trees. And then we can just copy and paste it and place it in a couple of different places and around our car parking spots, and hopefully do the same on the other side as well. You can just kind of guess it by aligning that light in the middle of the parking lot paint road. And then as we turn on our nighttime view, we now have some nice detailed lighting spots within our car park of little planters, a couple of trees, random cactus in the road, because I've not turned off road anarchy. I'm so sorry. I'm going to be getting screamed at to do that. But you know, much more interesting, isn't it? Much more interesting. And I think I'm happy to kind of have this little design as kind of a theme within our car parks across this part of the city at least, and we can, you know, come up with lots of little designs like this now with all these mods, and it's quite exciting, isn't it? It is for me anyway. I hope it is for everybody else. There we go. Looks like our trees aren't coming through because I don't have Tree Anarchy on, of course. That would be why. I will learn. Just give it some time. Just detail up our car parks like that. You can see the difference, right? Kind of illuminated and then not illuminated. Does make a big world of difference, so something to bear in mind. We do have parks, of course, now, so let's sweep through our residential area and include a whole bunch of parks. And we do have some really nice ones. We've got like football fields and baseball parks now, just absolutely unreal. So excited to be using these. Very nice indeed. Let's get one of these in. So with this one, the grass sprites actually poke through the grass, which looks ridiculous. But we just select it with Move It and then bring it up by a couple of points. You can just get rid of them. And it sort of works a little bit better like that. So I think I'm fairly happy with it anyway. Definitely have some policing issues. Let's go ahead and drop in. How about this small little police department here? Let's see where we can maybe bang this one in. Maybe over on the corner here. I don't think that's too bad over there, right? It'll just envelop as part of the suburb now. Are we out of power again? Yes, we are. Let's come ahead and place in a few more of our little solar panels here. Because I think I'm quite happy to have these run pretty much everywhere in the city. Of course, until we come to some kind of dedicated modded power plant build anyway. There we go. That's going to jump us right back up. So really handy solar panel assets. Definitely one of the better ones that I've chosen for this series, I think. But yeah, let's continue to give people parks. We have a little billboard here, which functions as a park, and I think this will look really nice, kind of sat up on the corner. What does that say? What to do when life gives you lemons? Don't make lemonade. Make life. Take the lemons back. Yell, I don't want your damn lemons. Demand to see life's manager. Burn down their house with the lemons, with the little asterisks as well. That's good. I like that. That's a good billboard. But yeah, it does actually count as a park. You know, there's loads of stuff here now. There's football fields. Okay, so I think I can squeeze in a high school soccer field just by rotating the high school around ever so slightly here. And it's not going to be too bad, and we've got some manoeuvring room with Move It as well. So let's bring this one over. And then we're going to grab this one and then just push it back until we don't touch the power lines with the metal poles. That would be relatively bad. And then we can just have a little soccer field out of, sorry, football. We can have a football field. Oh yeah, I'll have to watch the Americanisms today, I'm sure. Okay. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. However, guys, I feel like that is a good place for a detailing time lapse. We have a bunch of stuff to do. to fill in lots of space here with more walkability and some more of that kind of green Ilos palette that we're starting to develop over here. Lots of surface painting to be done just to flesh out these textures alongside the road. I did also add this connection back in off camera now. And you can see just how it siphons off some of the traffic off the main road. You know, some prefer to come back in this way while others are heading down the arterial. I want to do some intersectional look at the cactuses, man. I need to turn off allocate. I will do it, I'm so sorry. Right, okay, I'll get rid of the cacti. Do some intersection marking stuff here, not particularly true to real life. Like I mentioned, Phoenix doesn't really have that many kind of over-the-top amazing intersection markings, but we'll do some stuff here just so we can see it. And then just our usual bits of detailing, bringing in some more zoning along here as our American Eclectic themed neighborhood slowly grows up behind us. And I detail the entrance into the town here as well with some fencing and try and develop something of a more rural looking vibe on this side at least anyway. But otherwise, let's detail Ilos for the first time and we will be right back. Okay guys, that is going to do it for today. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, likes, comments and shares below really help bring more people to my channel. And if you would like to help support me directly, there are links down to Instant Gaming and Patreon below. Equally as much if you haven't enjoyed it, please feel free to leave a dislike as well. I'm happy with this, especially this is the first time really starting a city with mods. I really like it. I love this frontage road up against kind of the main artery that comes into town, and then we've got these kind of little school parks starting to develop. And as we now begin to expand this suburb, we can custom build parks and get some surface painter in there to get some grass in. Little lakes using the water source tool, so lots of exciting ideas in store as we begin to expand this suburb out. Usually within my series we tend to do a significant industrial build in the second episode just because the city needs that industry so early on, so we'll probably do industry next. But I hope you have enjoyed my first expedition with mods and I really hope it was worth the wait. I know a lot of you are excited for this series, so I hope you're enjoying it. And thank you for all the patience again as well, I really do appreciate it. Do do hang around for the outro tag. There was a ton of detailing that you guys wouldn't have seen. And of course, the first nighttime view is always appreciated, isn't it? I think it is. Otherwise, I want to thank you all so much for watching. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.